And a very good morning to you all. So today we'll be dealing with the topic forest resources, under which we shall be studying about effects of deforestation due to timber logging, shifting cultivation, mining and dumps on forest and tribal populations. Okay, so let's begin. So what are forest resources? Forest, the resources which are available in the forest region of our planet, right? These are termed as forest resources, to be very simple and precise in the definition. Now, forests are among the most diverse and widespread ecosystems on our earth, isn't it? Forests are most diverse. Yes, we can understand this by the fact that there are a variety of different plants present in our planet, right? And they provide this timber and other forest products. Okay, they have cultural values, right? In most of the places, the forests are being worshipped. They deliver recreational benefits and ecosystem services, including regulation of the soil, air, and water. We know that the plants are responsible for maintaining a periodic or timely rainfall and the climatic changes, right? Seasonal changes as well. So they act as a reservoir of biodiversity, and also they act as a carbon sink. Carbon sink, what do you mean by carbon sink? That is, they trap the carbon, okay, dioxide from escaping into the atmosphere. As we know, if the carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, if it is escaped in the atmosphere, then global warming will take place, right? So who protects us from who protects us from so that such ill effect doesn't happen, right, in our atmosphere? Then it is the plant. Okay, now, because of unique geographical locations and climatic variations of India, there are diverse type of forest, okay, in our India. A total of 14 major classes of forest have been identified, okay, in the diverse region of Indian territories. Some of which are tropical evergreen, where in which the plant used to the leaves are there are leaves throughout the year. Okay, that's why it is termed as evergreen forest. Tropical deciduous forest, in which the leaves are shed in a particular season. Okay, so that's why it is been put into some other categories, that is tropical deciduous forest. Coniferous forest, mostly in the winter and chilly areas you will find this conical type of leaves, right? And the plants bearing such type of leaves are called as the coniferous plant, right? And alpine forests. Okay, now you might have seen this picture somewhere else in a little bit different form, right? That is, from the trees, what are the things that a tree contributes? Okay, you can go through the picture, you can see a different type of benefits can be obtained from a tree, right? Okay, as a whole, if you broadly think about the function of this forests, right? So it will be three types. Okay, that is protective function, productive function, and accessory function. The productive function, as we all know, it produces various sorts of products which are useful to the mankind, isn't it? Not only mankind, as well as for the other plants and animal species, other microorganisms as well. Okay, protective functions, yes, we know it protects us in terms of the climatic changes, right? It encourages the soil and prevents the soil erosion and this, okay, absorption of water during excessive rainfall or excessive flood conditions, right? On the other hand, trees also provides us various sorts of medicines. Okay, as we know, most of the medicine sources are from the plants, right? And in addition to this, they provide recreation, aesthetics, wildlife conservation values as well. Okay, so the trees mainly contribute or performs three functions, that is protective, like I told you, productive, as well as accessory functions. So most of the time we normally go to the forest area for recreational purpose, for the picnic purposes, aesthetic purposes. That means they are related to various sort of what can I say that one, cultural values, right? Or spiritual values they're related with. And wildlife conservation, obviously forest, if there is wildlife, then if the forest, the habitat is maintained, right, then the wildlife can be conserved, right? Okay, so deforestation, it's a very serious issue. Deforestation means cutting down of trees or clearing of trees, right? That means just clearing a land, a forest land. Okay, now what are the main causes of deforestation? We know agriculture, right? Shifting cultivation, timber logging, mining, increase in human population, urbanization, industrialization, construction of dams, roads, forest fire, overgrazing, etc. There are huge reasons, right? The number of reasons are many for deforestation. So let us go through this one by one. So agriculture, for agriculture you need to till the land, right? So first you need to clear the land. Okay, so suppose there is a forest area what will you do? You will cut the trees down, right? And then you will till the soil, right? So in this regard, what you are doing, you are contributing to deforestation. Shifting cultivation is a type of agricultural practice in which most of the tribal people in the hilly areas, they cut down the trees, they burn it. It is also known as slash and burn method. Okay, and by this process they used to affect this vegetation of that area. Obviously, timber logging, that means obtaining the wood for various commercial purposes. So where do you get the wood from? You get the wood from the forest area. Okay, for that you need to cut the trees. Now then, mining. Okay, mining, as you all know, that is extraction of various minerals from the earth, isn't it? So for mining also you need to clear the land, and then only you will go for digging, isn't it? So in this process, then that means what you are doing, you are just contributing your part for deforestation. Now next is your increase in human population. Obviously, how it is related to deforestation. So if the population is increasing, then you need more and more land, right, to occupy the spaces, right? So how do you get the land? Obviously you will have to cut down the forest for increasing your land area, isn't it? So population also affects deforestation. Then urbanization, that means converting the of villages into towns into cities into very big, okay, settlements, isn't it? So for that also you need to clear the land, right, forest area. Now industrialization, obviously for setting up the industries, what you do, you will have to cut down the trees and set up your industries in a particular location. Now here is an important point. Industries alone itself contributes to a large number of pollutions, as you all know, right? The oil spills or the chemical spills from the industries degrade the land, degrade the water, isn't it? The air, impure air, the polluted air from the industries pollute the air, right? And the noises from the machineries that is run in the factories or industries is to affect our ears, isn't it? So industry as a whole contributes a major part of ill effects in the environment. Now construction of big projects like roads, dams, right, also affects the vegetation of a particular area. Forest fire, overgrazing, etc., these are also the factors which results in deforestation. Now if we summarize all these points as a whole, what do we see? We see that for any of the activities mentioned there, you will see the clearing of the land is must. So if you clear the land, obviously you are going for a deforestation process, isn't it? And this in turn affects the environment. Next, and one more another point here is that the greed or the greediness of the human mind can be clearly seen. Okay, the need as well as greed of the human mind can be clearly seen. Now, as Mahatma Gandhi said, nature has enough to satisfy one needs but not one greed. So this exactly is applicable in this scenario as well. If you are obviously going for agriculture purpose or for timber logging, make sure you plant many more trees, or make sure you rehabilitate the plants if possible, because in this way we can at least try to maintain the balance between the environment. Okay. Now, the consequence of deforestation. What are the consequences of deforestation? Obviously, floods, direct impact of heat and rain on soil, loss of biodiversity, displacement of indigenous communities, climate change, economic loss, and several health issues. So, the consequence of deforestation, okay, first and foremost is the flood. Obviously, we know the tree used to hold the soil, right, tightly, okay, and they help in the climatic change, seasonal rainfall, right? So, if the trees are not there, then there will be no seasonal rainfall, no periodic rainfall, right? And if so, if and this will lead to the increase in the global temperature, right, which will melt the polar ice, and the polar ice upon melting will increase the sea level, and once the sea level increases, obviously there will be flood, right? Next is a direct impact of heat and rain on the soil. Obviously, if the trees act as an umbrella and protects the impact of heavy rain, right, onto the soil. So if the tree is not there, then the direct rain, the heavy impact of the rain will be direct upon the soil, thereby degrading the soil, right? Now, loss of biodiversity, obviously, if there are no habitat, the wildlife will not be sustaining, isn't it? Okay. and if there is no food and shelter for the wildlife, obviously they will die, right? In this way we will be facing a loss of biodiversity. Displacement of indigenous people are those communities which are dependent and lives nearby the forest area. So if you cut down the forest area, what will happen? You are depriving them from obtaining various resources from the forest, and thereby they have to be displaced from their particular location. Now, climate change, like I said, trees contribute a major part in regulating the climate, right? If the trees are affected, the climate will also be affected. Economic loss, obviously, if there are no trees, there will be no rainfall, there will be no crops cultivation, right? And in that regard, you will be facing economic loss and several health issues. Obviously, if the trees are not there, then we do face several health issues. Okay, most of those are in terms of the availability of the food, water, medicine, okay, air, pure air, etc. Now, what are the principal causes of deforestation? Like I've explained you in the previous slide, it is mostly the expansion of agriculture, shifting cultivation, firewood collection, timber logging, industrialization, urbanization, large-scale developments, etc., development projects, etc. So I have explained to you in my previous slide. You can just go through these slides and have give a reading to it, and you can match it with the pictures given alongside with the materials, right? Now, what is the impact of deforestation on tribal population? Now, we know the tribal population are those people which live nearly or close to the forest region, okay, and who are dependent totally on the forest resources for their livelihood. Now, and we know these tribal people are spiritually and emotionally connected to the forest as well, okay. So if the deforestation is taking place, obviously they are getting deprived of various forest resources, right? Their emotional and spiritual aspect is also being hurt, isn't it? So in that regard, you can write down few points as stated here, that the tribal populations are dependent on the forest resources for obtaining their livelihood, right? They are the ones who live in close contact with the nature, okay. They live in harmony with the nature, and they are connected to the forest both spiritually and emotionally. They obtain various useful forest resources, like I said, right? Among which there are various woody products as well as non-woody products, and the sacred groves are of great spiritual interest for the local inhabitants, okay, as they are psychologically and emotionally connected to the forest area. So if you are depriving them from their forest area, then obviously it affects their sociology, it affects them physically, as well as mentally, okay. The major impact of deforestation on the tribal population is the destruction of their homeland, okay. Two things you need to keep in mind, that if the deforestation is taking place in a tribal populated area, then two things are badly affected. One is their homeland, and second one is their resources, okay. So time to time various protests have been taken place, but some of which have been solved. Some of the purposes have been solved, other have been not, right? So now the deforestation or the displacement of the local inhabitants mostly takes place due to construction of highways, dams, transformation of area into parks, institution of national importance, clearing the vegetation cover for extraction of natural resources through mining, oil extraction, blasting, etc. Okay, that means in order to satisfy one's need, they are depriving the other's need, okay. Most of the time the government, what they used to do, they used to rehabilitate, okay, they used to provide some separate land to the affected tribal peoples, but it is to be thought that psychologically and emotionally it affects the tribal people. Like if suppose we are staying in our home, right, we have been born in a particular house or a particular place, at a place, and that all of a sudden some outsider comes and tells us to go and engage or lock ourselves in a golden cage. Would it be possible? I would relate these things with a golden cage, okay. Even if the cage is golden, but the natural affection, emotional attachment won't come to it, isn't it? The loss of habitat and the resources due to human activities has led to negative psychological impact and emotional stress, like I said, okay. Now we know the human induced factors, mostly the human activities, have led to drastic changes in the physical, biological, and chemical composition of the environment, we can say, right? Let me give you a very simple example of that of a industry. If you set up an industry, obviously it is affecting the physical, chemical, and biological composition of that area, right, through its various wastes, okay, which are harmful for the environment. The periodic season and rainfall is also affected for deforestation, isn't it? Now, what are the methods to prevent deforestation? Some of the common methods to prevent deforestation are as follows. First, we need to spread awareness. First and foremost, if a person is aware about any ill issues, he or she might think about mm, before taking any drastic steps. Okay, tree plantation is a boon. If it's a very simple process and technique, but most of the people don't follow it at all, right? What you need to do, you just need to plant trees. That's it, nothing else. You just need to plant trees, and the rest will be done automatically. The environment will automatically heal itself. Minimize paper consumption, because paper are mostly obtained from the forest, dried woods, as well bamboos, right? So if you are to make paper out of woods, then you need to cut the wood. That means you are contributing your part for deforestation. So what we can do, we can minimize our paper consumption. Suppose the used paper can be sent to the factories for recycling purposes. Reduce, reuse, and recycle, that is the next point which I was about telling you, right? So reduce, reuse, and recycle, this means we can reduce, first and foremost, the usage of any products which are related to deforestation. Okay, we can reuse, okay, by recycling the various products. In this way, we can contribute our part to minimize the effect of deforestation. The next is your sustainable land use. So suppose you are growing a particular crop in an area, so you must keep in mind that you don't go for deforestation of the complete area. Okay, just follow the grid patterns. Grid patterns means, suppose there is a square like boxes, okay, 16 square boxes. Out of that, you go for cultivation in the 4 boxes, and remaining the other boxes, let them be let there be plantation in the other boxes. Okay, so in this way, what you are doing, you are maintaining a balance, okay, between your activities and the healing property of the environment. Then respecting the rights of the people. Obviously, you need to respect the rights of the people, because they are totally dependent on the forest area, okay, or the area which from which the resources are being obtained. So if you affect the forested resources of that particular area, obviously you are hampering the rights of the indigenous people. Okay, now ban on illegal activities. Obviously, illegal activities such as hunting, such as poaching, etc., or hunting for sports, right, or for fun. If you are performing also all those sort of activities, then it harshly affects the environment. Then you should report as well. If there is happening any ill effects happening in a particular area, then you should be reporting about the issues, right, to the concerned authorities. Restoration of degraded lands. Obviously, if a particular land area is degraded, you should not lose hope, and you should not just leave it as it is, right? You should at least try to regenerate, or at least restore the degraded land, okay, by planting trees. A very simple technique is just plant trees, okay, and automatically the area will be transformed. Ecoforestry practice. What do you mean by ecoforestry practice? That means such type of practice which are contributing towards a maintained ecological environment. Okay. Next is your shifting cultivation. Shifting cultivation is a type of cultivation in which the land is first cleared and then it is burned. Okay, the trees or any vegetation which grows on a particular land is first being cut down and then it is burned. Okay, and in those ashes, the ashes are being mixed with the soil, and in that soil some seeds are being cultivated. Okay, so this is termed as shifting cultivation. It is an age-old practice which is mostly practiced in the eastern Ghats and northeastern states of India. So what is the process of shifting cultivation? First is selecting a particular piece of land, then clearing the trees, okay, then burning it, okay, and then sowing the seeds in that field, and then shifting to some other plot of land, okay, and meanwhile the previously cultivated land is allowed to regenerate by itself or heal by itself, okay, and this process goes on. Some of the impact of shifting cultivation on environment are as follows. First is you're degrading the environment and ecology. Obviously, if you're clearing down the forest area or the land, right, what happens? You are affecting the environment, right? Then it is a the 15 to 20 year cycle of shifting cultivation as of now has been reduced to 2-3 years. Okay, that means the plant is not getting enough time to heal itself. Okay, the vegetation, the forest area is not getting enough time to restore itself, isn't it? The biodiversity is affected. Obviously, if you clear the land area, the forest area, the number of species are being affected. Now frequent shifting from one place to another also affects the land and the ecology of the region. The area under natural forest declines. Obviously, if the rate of shifting cultivation is very much high, then once you move to different plots, the rate of deforestation is drastically increasing, right? And thereby it affects the forest area under natural condition. Now, the fragmentation of habitat, local disappearance of native species, invasion by exotic weeds and other plants are some of the ecological consequences. So, fragmentation of habitat means what? Suppose there is a forest area, right? Fully covered forest area. You have gone for shifting cultivation and you are clearing the land in a grid-like pattern. What you are doing? You are fragmenting the habitat. Okay. Next is your local disappearance of native species. Obviously, native species are those species which are found in that particular area. Okay, so you are also affected. Once you clear the land, you clear each and everything, right? Thereby you destroy the native species as well. Then invasion by exotic weeds. The exotic weeds means any external plant species or animal species, any organisms which are from outside, okay, which are foreign to us. If so, they may come and invade the particular area and thereby affecting the growth of other local plants. Okay. The important attempts made by the government to minimize shifting cultivation are arable lands are provided. What do you mean by arable lands? The lands with which cultivation can be done. Okay, so the tribal populations are being asked not to go and affect the vegetation, fully vegetative covered area. Rather, they are provided with arable lands for carrying out their cultivation practices. That agroforestry project, various agroforestry projects such as Nagaland Environment Protection for Economic Development, okay, which was funded by Canadian International Development Agency, okay, was initiated in 1995 to make Nagaland as self-sufficient in agroforestry. Now, what do you mean by agroforestry? Agroforestry means the production of agriculture, the combination of agriculture and forestry practices. Okay, so that means what? Suppose you can see in the picture below, there are crops, okay, as well as trees grown in a particular land. So this is termed as this is the practice in which you grow both your desired agricultural crops as well as you plant trees, right? Is termed as agroforestry practices. So this not only helps in contributing our food resources, but also helps in sustaining the environment. Okay. Next is by encouraging cooperative efforts for carrying out forest-based activities, right? That means we can encourage the local people, the tribal people, for carrying out various forest-based activities such as basket making, rope making, furniture making, honey collection, etc. That is also from a viable source. Okay, it is not that for making this sort of products, they will go and keep on cutting down the trees and all. What they should do, they should follow a sustainable method of obtaining such resources or raw materials so that they can process it into some commercially viable products. Okay. Now, next is here by forming village forest committees. Obviously, somebody or the other have to take the responsibility for maintaining the environment, isn't it? So in the forest, it is very much beneficial to form a village forest committee, okay, under which the forest area of the village shall be protected. By promoting activities like the joint forest management and social forestry practices, like I said, the agricultural practices can be combined with the forestry practices. Okay, so in this regard, what they can do, each and every people inhabiting that particular area must grow the plants or trees around their houses. In this way, they will contribute to a greener environment, isn't it? By creating awareness about the ill effects and consequences of such cultivation practices. So, as you know, we have a clear idea that shifting cultivation is very much harmful for the environment under certain conditions, right? When it is uh, being done in a very short span of time, then it drastically affects the environment. Okay, so in that regard, we should create awareness to the people. Okay, we should create awareness, because until and unless we don't know the pros and cons of a particular event or happenings, we won't be able to rationalize our thinking, isn't it? Next is mining. Mining simply refers to the extraction of minerals from the earth. Okay, and what are the various products that we obtain from mining? There are magnesium, copper, petroleum, tin, nickel, gold, silver, diamond, etc. Okay, now mining is a profitable business, isn't it? Because the raw materials, after being processed, they are of huge demand and huge quality, huge prices. Okay, which are sold in huge prices. So for that reason, the mankind finds mining a profitable business. Okay, and it also earns a revenue for the government. Now mining is generally very destructive. Okay, in regards of the deforestation of a particular land area, in regards of various types of pollutions and health hazards. Okay, now what are the advantages of mining? We know they supply important resources, right? And they are important for technological progresses, employment. They provide employment opportunities to the locally unemployed people. They uh, we obtain our fuel as okay, which is from the ground, which is obtained as a result of mining, right? So jewelry, ornaments, electrical appliances provides various raw materials for different useful products, right? In the picture, you can see there are few of the raw materials which are mined. Okay, and in the cycle picture, you can see the various parts of the cycles are made up of different type of minerals or metals which need to be extracted from the or mined from the earth, right? Some of the major impacts of mining are as follows. Severe deforestation, like I said, if you are to mine a place, you need to first clear the land, right? Loss of biodiversity. In this process, the biodiversity is affected. There are many type of trees, there are many type of animal species, okay, inhabiting that area are drastically affected. Then emission of dust, suspended particles and gases. That means emission of harmful pollutants, okay? Mining leads to such as the blasting of the area, okay, the drilling machines which they use, the vehicles which runs on diesels, right? What they used to release a large number of harmful pollutants. Okay, then mining leads to the release of harmful trace elements like cobalt, lead, cadmium. These are trace elements that is found in very low concentration, but they are very much harmful for the human beings. It also mining also contaminates the groundwater, isn't it, due to seepage of the water. Mining leads to the degradation of the soil, obviously quality, fertility, and making the soil toxic. It affects the soil, the fertility of the soil, and also makes the soil a toxic one. It disturbs the natural habitat of the living organisms, for which the diversity is also affected. Okay, and the balance of the ecosystem is also affected. Mining causes degradation of land resources. Now, what do you mean by land resources? The various forest or plant and the various products obtained from the forest, right? And the land itself is a resource, isn't it? Like we have studied in the previous slides, that the land itself is a resources which can be utilized for construction purposes as well as for growth of crops, isn't it? Now, mining affects the inhabitants and its surrounding. This is a very practical example. Okay, and suppose there is a factory, brick factory or something industry, right, growing set up in your area. What will happen? The smoke particle, the dust particle, the smoke particle which is released from the chimneys will affect the entire area. Okay, and this can be seen due to by the deposition of the black soot particles in your face, in your eyes, in your houses, okay, and everything. So it, no doubt, it is a profitable business that we are obtaining bricks for the construction of pakka houses, right? But the problem is that it indirectly it is on the other hand, it is contributing to a large number of ill effects such as noise pollution, air pollution, okay, healthy and various health issues, etc. Now, what are the preventive measures for mining related problems? So, lower impact mining techniques, right? That means we'll have to find out a way in which the harmful effects of the mining due to the mining process can be reduced, right? That means the release of harmful poisonous gases, the noise pollutions, then the release of chemicals or waste in and around the area, So we need to find out a technique, such techniques in which we can reduce such negative emissions. Reusing mining waste, obviously we can reuse the waste that is obtained from the mining site or area, like such as unused rocks or water, the waters, mine waters, etc. Okay, they can be purified and then they can be used for water irrigation purposes as well. So even the toxics which is left behind in the mine sites can be also converted or processed into some useful products and then used in various industries. Okay, so overall what we can do, we can minimize the impact of such ill releases, okay, ill consequences. We need to plan out or chalk out such an idea in which the environment, the effect on the environment can be minimized due to the mining activities. Eco-friendly equipment such as battery driving mining equipment, like I said, if the heavy vehicles are run on diesels and upon burning they emit a lot of harmful gases, right? So in place of the diesel engines, if we replace it with a eco-friendly equipment, right, such as battery driving mining equipment, then it will be a boon, or it will be a very helpful for the environment, isn't it? The rehabilitating mining site, suppose you have a mine in a particular area and then the mining is done, then you should rehabilitate, right, the mining site. You should go for afforestation practices and convert the mining area, the mining land into a fully vegetated land, right? And you should we should also shut down the illegal mines, because the illegal mines, the mines I'm pretty much sure that the government will not allow over exploitation or over mining activities in any particular area, because the ill consequences on the environment is huge. So in that regard, the most of the time the illegal miners, what they do, they used to quietly go for mining activities, right, on an unpermitted area. And okay, so such illegal mines should be reported and should be shut. Sustainable mining practices, this means uh, carrying out the mining activities in such a way that the environment or the future generation is not affected. Okay, next is your dams. Dams are a kind of barrier constructed across the river to hold the water, isn't it? And dams are used for generating hydroelectricity as well. So let's go through the advantages of the dams. First and foremost, dams provides hydroelectricity, that is, okay, run in our houses. Dams provide water for irrigation purposes. Dams provide water supply to houses. They are also helpful in flood control, recreational activities such as sports, right, water sports, etc., and navigation. Okay, the impact of dams on the environment are as follows: displacing communities. So displacing communities means, so when the place in which you will construct a dam, okay, the on one side of the dam there will be overflooding of water. On the other hand, it will be reduction in the water quantity. Okay, so the portion in which the water will be flooding, right, the area, obviously we know most of the people they prefer to live or they reside beside the water bodies, isn't it, right? And they used to cultivate their crops on the banks of the river. So once you construct the dam, the area will be over flooded, hence you need to displace the communities, right? And the crops are also badly affected due to the waterlogging conditions. Now flooding also transforms the physical landscape, isn't it? Suppose you can see in the picture below, in 1987 and 2006, you can see the landscape is changed totally. Okay, there were lots of greeneries around side the river, but later on the river overflooded the greenery region. Okay, and that led to the drying of the land area. Now the construction of dams converts free flowing water rivers into permanently flowing water bodies. Suppose in the picture you see in 1987 portion, you can see the water is flowing in a particular direction, right? It's freely flowing. But upon construction of dam in 2006, what happened? There is a flooding like condition, okay, in the upstream. So dam, not only, okay, dam is very much important for generating hydroelectricity. It's okay, it's well and good for irrigation purpose also, but on the other hand it also have very negative consequences on our environment and mostly to the locally inhabited people of that area. Now dam prevents fish species migrating upstream. We know many of the fishes like this salmon fishes, etc., what they used to do, they used to migrate upstream, okay, during the reproduction cycle. But once we have blocked their pathway, this reproduction cycle is affected, and hence the number of species also get reduced. Then exotic species can colonize a particular area, right? Exotic species means the species which are from the outside, which are foreign to the particular land, okay, they can also colonize the particular area. Now people who have been displaced, right, their emotional state is also affected, right, from because they have been displaced from the particular area, so obviously the emotional state will be affected badly. So time to time there has been protest, but some of them have been resolved and some issues are still pending. Now, what are the preventive measures for dam-related problems? Proper surveying of the interested area is a must. Okay, before construction of the dams, you need to survey the particular area. You need to understand the pros and cons of that particular area, right? And you need to rehabilitate the local inhabitants. Suppose you have decided, or the government has decided to say build the dam in a particular area, then automatically the overflooding will take place. The local inhabitants will be affected. So they need to chalk out a plan for rehabilitating the local inhabitant in some other areas. Okay, then they should go for a sustainable approach, means they should try to minimize the ill effect or the negative effect of the dams constructions. Afforestation is a boon. Like I said, plantation is a boon. If you plant trees, much more trees, no doubt the trees will regulate the negative impacts on the environment as a result of the construction of dams. Now, suppose, as for example, the flooding of a particular area, if there are trees, then the trees will uptake the water, thereby minimizing the effect of this flood. Okay, then awareness program is very much important, right? Awareness program means not only about the pros and consequences of dam, but also suppose you need to construct a dam which will generate a good amount of electricity, right? So for that reason, you need to go and make the local inhabitants understand about the benefits of a dam, and that if they can move from that particular area, then it will be much easier for the government to construct the dam, isn't it? Okay, so in that regard also some programs are all required. In the next topic we'll be discussing about water resources. Okay, so till then we just go through the slides. Okay, there are pictures given in each and every slide, so that it will be easier for you. And if you have any confusion or any questions related to it, then you can let me know. Okay, then till then, thank you. That's all for today.